Hey there, my name is Jeff Fritz, and I'm back with another Ask a Developer interview, and I'm here with Ninja Bunny 9000. Why don't you introduce yourself real quick?
What's up, everybody? I'm Ninja Bunny 9000, or Bun for short. I stream on Twitch. I do live coding and music. Basically, we just geek out about stuff, build projects, and have fun and hang out on Twitch. It's pretty cool.
Now, you program in several different languages on Twitch, don't you?
Yeah, I mostly do Python. I learned C. I do C++ and embedded C at work. Some projects require it, but I've been trying to stick mostly to Python right now because I can do everything from computer, like actual on the PC scripts, to web servers, to embedded code all in Python now. And that's
Nice.
kind of fun to do end-to-end Python stuff and experiment with that.
Now, when you're learning about some of those new ways that you can experiment with Python, what kinds of things do you look for in your blogs or documentation or white papers? Do you look for a lot of code samples? Do you look for diagrams? What do you look for when you're reading that stuff?
Mostly I want something that I can scan or reference and scan and parse pretty quickly. If I do videos, and I really like videos, there are a couple people that I like in particular because they break down their videos into like specific topics. Like they have an overarching abstraction of like a larger concept, but then it's broken down into like what chapters would be or sections and chapters would be. So I can just go straight to that thing that I want to reference.
Okay.
Just like you would normally Google something, how to do something, and go to Stack Overflow or whatever and get the answer. I'd rather personally go and get that from someone who does a larger series on it but has it broken down.
So being able to have an index or be able to have those search points that call out, here's something that you should know, right? And here's that feature, here's that module, something to specify, break that out. Okay.
Yeah. So if I'm looking for like how to do itertools or something in Python, there are people that have 30-minute long itertool videos, and then there are people that have 6 5-minute long videos that go over different aspects of it and different ways to use it. And I'd rather go to those 5-minute videos than like try and skip through a 30-minute video.
Oh, okay. Now, if there's vendors out there that are building tools for Python, what topics would you look for specifically in those blogs or white papers?
If they're building tools for learning or tools like just for using.
Maybe they're building tools for developers to use.
Okay. I mean, my biggest focus on any tools that I use are just a really clean and minimal UI, or something, like I said, that's easy and quick to parse. I think that like we're pretty inundated by a bunch of visual noise just day in and day out as developers, and that's really exhausting mentally.
Okay.
And I'm noticing that it also like kind of drains my willpower a little bit. So like it's really frustrating when you're looking something up and you drain all your willpower and you mentally exhaust yourself just trying to find the information. And now that you have the answer, you're like 20% of what your reserve was, and you're trying to apply it, and it doesn't really work very well. So anything that's really clear and easy to kind of index mentally and find really is what I look for.
So would you say that makes it more developer friendly, that it's easier for you to parse out, easier for you to understand, and clearer in the delivery of that content?
Yeah, I think for working developers, absolutely. I think if you're in school, you probably want to look for something different. You probably want to look at that 30-minute video because you want someone to go through everything and go as deep as they possibly can, because you're trying to just absorb this and absorb the big picture. Usually, I guess for the first time, sometimes you're just reviewing what you heard in class. But like, as a developer, a lot of times you're really just referencing something that you know probably exists, but you don't know how to do it, or you don't remember how to do it because you don't do it every day. So, yeah.
So that sounds a little bit like the difference between a tutorial versus a how-to. It sounds like a beginner would really look for a tutorial that really does go deep on those topics. But you're saying as a professional developer, you're looking for that how-to that's highly indexed, and you can get right to the meat of the solution you're looking for.
Exactly. And in Python, I have some examples actually of content creators that can reference kind of both ends of the spectrum for this. They're pretty well known. On one hand, you have Sentdex, Sentdex, who does sometimes hour and a half long videos and has hundreds and hundreds of videos. And he goes really in depth in tutorials of like big projects that teach you a lot of stuff and a lot of the foundations. Really good for people that are doing their first Python project. They're going to sit there, they're going to watch it, maybe pause it every once in a while, try and catch up and work alongside of it. And then there's streamers like Corey Schaefer, who I really, really like, who has some 20, 30-minute long videos, but a lot of them are really short and they're indexed. And, you know, he has playlists and chapters and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly just going back and, you know, checking on a part of or that video. But it's not entirely the best thing to show a beginner because they would just go through and be like, okay, I know how to do all these things, but not apply them. Whereas Sentdex takes an hour and a half to show you how to apply it.
Okay. That makes sense.
And if you already have the application in mind, then yeah, you're looking for that, how to do it. You know what you need to do.
Now, when you do look for a video from either of those content producers, how often do you expect to see new content from them?
Oh, that's tough. A lot of them try to put something out. It depends on if they're working part-time or full-time. Like full-time content creators are doing 2 to 3 times a week. But I would say at least once a week. It really depends on how in-depth they're getting with their videos. If they're doing hour-long videos, they're doing essays, or they're releasing it as a series, it might be monthly. So like there's one person who does like entire languages in 30 minutes or entire languages in an hour and a half, or does 5-hour deep dives. And they're kind of, you know, in a class type form, and they don't put it out more than once a month. But once they're there forever. And, you know, the channel grows exponentially. I like the more regular content.
Okay. That reference material, it's okay for it to come out less regularly, but and particularly if you're looking for blog posts, that kind of thing, you do want to see more frequently. Yeah.
For written and for blog posts, what I really like to see is kind of like, I don't know if I should call it a case study, but I like the posts that are like, here's an essay of a really cool thing that I did with a tool that you use every day that you may not have considered to use this way.
Okay.
I really like this, or like op-eds kind of, I guess. Or like, here's an underrated tool. Here's a really neat way to use it. And then walks through this way to use it. I feel like those are pretty enlightening, and those need that long form kind of blog post.
Oh, sure. Right. They say that most folks only know how to use like 5% of Microsoft Excel, and the spreadsheet does so much more. Same thing with developer tools.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, thanks so much. That's been another Ask a Developer interview. My name's Jeff Fritz, and I've been here with the Ninja Bunny 9000. Take care.
Adios.